Hello and welcome. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I'd like to thank our sponsors at Procyon Partners. Procyon, one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. They specialize in employee benefits, wealth management, and retirement planning. President Sean Rabinowitz, proud supporter of our podcast network and everything we do. Green Street Trust International, owned and operated by Rennell Jump and UConn legendary men's basketball player Jake Voskuhl. They specialize in tax plans for businesses large or small. They will save you money or get you a big fat return on your taxes. To schedule your free strategic tax planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm is located in Bridgeport, Connecticut. If you've suffered any type of personal injury, slip and fall, a car accident, your mother-in-law ran you over with her car, your wife got angry one night and decided to stab you, the Finch Firm is for you. Pete has won legal battles all across the state of Connecticut. He will go to war to get every dollar you deserve in compensation. You just have to remember, in a pinch, call Finch or go to his website, thefinchfirm.com. Dynamic Human Performance is owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon. He trains boys and girls of all ages, all sports. He has a boot camp program 7 days a week, 6 a.m. You want to get in shape, you go to Andre. He has an athletic development program where he trains boys and girls in the sport of their choice from the ground up, helps them reach their full potential, be the best they can possibly be. Andre has sent boys and girls to college on scholarship for all different types of sports. To work with the best, he has a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility in Hartford, Connecticut. Go to www.dynamichumanperformance.com. All right, and here we are for Honesty Lost. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully, and with me is always Momma Higgins, Erica Higgins, who is unfortunately going to Costa Rica or Puerto Rico, wherever it is, on Thursday. I was not invited.
Very different places. Which is it, Erica?
It's Costa Rica.
Okay.
I was one. I
was expecting Cully to come to my house on Saturday for a graduation party too. So he gets dates wrong, times wrong, countries wrong. We'll just chalk it up to UConn education.
Yeah, there you go.
And football player, but
yeah.
Boy,
helmets can only do so much.
You can zing them in there.
You're getting the double whammy tonight, Cully.
They can. And our special guest, Mr. Todd Sarner.
I know so many football players, and I love and respect so many football players, Steve. It's all.
That's that. You know what? That's very kind of you to respect.
Listen, he deserves a zing from me, Todd. You know what? He's a no-show. He was a no-show. No show.
I was there in spirit. Todd Sarner, Transformative Parenting, MFT, the Calm and Connected Parent. Is that the book?
That's the book.
Yes.
That's the first one. The fatherhood book is almost done. It's almost there.
It's coming out.
Yes.
We can't wait.
Yes, I
might push it back a little bit, but I'm liking it.
You gotta have it done before the holidays, because that's gonna be my husband's Christmas gift.
If you need any edits or anything looked over, just send it to me.
Gotcha. I will. The best book editor in the universe.
So we were. First of all, I can't believe that video, Erica. That's impressive. This has been brought up multiple times, and it's very interesting to hear because kids love sports. They love being with their friends. They love that team unity, and they love being together. And it seems now that for the last several years, it's gotten more competitive, a little out of control. And, there's a difference between kids having fun, developing, and whatnot. And I'm going to be a professional athlete. How do you coach parents to set boundaries with kids and athletics, extracurricular activities, from not doing too much in understanding that it's a game and it's not your life. People see it as like a life and death situation sometimes. And that's what angers me the most as a former coach.
Yeah, we talked about this for a minute before we went live, and there's just so many different places my head goes, and let's talk it out a little bit. But one of the things I thought about, like my kid turns 23 a month from today. And when he was younger, he was a baseball standout. Like he just natural gifted baseball player, and he played at a pretty high level. But I remember some of the politics going on in his baseball league. And keep in mind, this is the nickname for this town is Hippie Town. Okay. So it's like a little kind of liberal town. There's also like a real working class element too, and some more conservative people, but it's a little bit more of a liberal, like hippie, like spot, like West County, we call it. And we had the signs up that I know are not just in our little town.
They're mine too. You're not going to be a future Yankee.
These are kids. This is a game. Coaches are volunteers. The umpires are human, and your child is not signing a contract today.
Yes.
And honestly, I shouldn't go straight into this, but there was a restraining order, and this is at least 10 years ago, against a parent that was doing so much combative yelling and screaming at kids and umpires at the games and coaches that they had to get a restraining order that said you cannot be within, I'm going to make up the number, 200 meters of 500 feet of the game. This person actually would go to exactly 500 feet from the game and yell from there. Okay. And so I don't
league, like out to the outfield is what, 250 feet?
Yeah, it depends on the field, In Japan, they're all uniform, but Little League, they're wildly different sometimes. But yeah, it's far. But I don't know. There's so many different inroads to this, but a couple things I think of is we might have talked about Waldorf education. It might have come up. I don't think Waldorf is the best for everybody. My kid went to a Waldorf school, but part of why we went to the Waldorf school is they had this philosophy that I just really liked of let's teach the kids to love to learn. Like before anything else, before this, all that, like I've heard stories from clients that in New York City, and I don't know how true this is, but this was a long time ago, that you were supposed to sign your kid up for a specialized preschool
when they're
while
born.
they were in utero.
Yes.
Or when they're true. Right. And you're going to go to a Mandarin program when you're 4, or you're going to go to a science program or a thing. And it's like, you have no idea who this kid is. You have no clue.
Yes. Our friends did it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's where Erica lives.
Yeah. I do not live in New York City, but our friends that do live in New York City did this.
But there's this whole thing that there's this false understanding that learning is good. So therefore, if we start teaching them when they're 2, and like start drilling things and memorizing things and whatever, that's better. And it's not. It's a false premise. Mm-hmm. Like, so when I saw these schools, and again, Waldorf's not perfect everywhere, and there's different teachers and whatever, and they fit some kids and it doesn't fit other kids. But isn't
their philosophy more like hands-on, manipulative?
Yeah, like up until a kid is, we talked at least once, we've talked a couple times, like the prefrontal cortex doesn't develop until the kid's like 7 or 8, right? Mm-hmm. And their whole thing is like, well, they didn't know about the prefrontal cortex when Rudolf Steiner came up with Waldorf education. He just said, look, around the time they're 7 and their teeth are falling out, something changes about their brain where they can kind of take things in better. Up until then, I'm going to get emails from Waldorf people saying you're not saying it correctly. But up until then, let's just teach them how to have good relationship, spatial awareness around them, and to get into their bodies. And like we're going to paint the letter A this week, and we're going to talk about what letters, what words start with A. Let's paint apples, right? And anybody who's like on this track of like, we need to help them get a PhD by the time they're 9, are like, what are you doing? Spending a week talking about, but these kids have a relationship to their education that's not perfect, but it's different. They're just like, oh, I kind of understand and I can see it in a different way. And I'm using both parts of my brain. I'm not just using my memorization, which how much stuff do you remember that you memorized in school?
0.
Like 0 or less?
I remember everything, but that's...
Name all the presidents there, Cully. Go for it. In order.
We have a long show. So.
We don't want to waste people's time. But they taught them to like, I remember going to Chipotle. You guys have Chipotle?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I remember going to Chipotle with my kid and his friend. And this kid's dad was a super smart IT guy who was like an original dude at Google, but now he's like a chicken farmer because he just decided that's what he wants to do. And
he
this
made millions at Google so he can be a chicken farmer.
Exactly. And he was one of the first 50 employees, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This poor teenage employee at Chipotle is like, what do you want for your order? He's like, where do your chickens come from? And do you treat them well? And where does the meat processed? And all this stuff. And he's like 9. And the teenager's like, do you want sour cream on that, right? And this is all you know me by now, guys. Sometimes I'll walk around it a little bit.
He was being serious with the question. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, he was just curious. He really wanted to know where the chickens came from because his dad farmed chickens, and they went out of their way to treat them well and like move them around free range and all this stuff. And he was just super curious. He wasn't just give me a burrito, right? And it was a little, precocious, but I was very aware of a kid who seemed to have a lot of natural, like I remember he's in the backyard with my buddy Frank, and Frank and I go to the Giants games all the time, and we're big fans, and they frustrate the hell out of us, especially right now. And I come into the backyard where he's been playing with my son with the big, ball and big bat when he's like 3. And he's about to throw it overhand to my kid. And I go, hey, he doesn't hit overhand yet. And he's like, he has like 10 times. I'm like, oh, okay. And he's hitting the ball over the fence and all this stuff. And he's great, right? But I was always really aware. I want him to love playing. I don't want him to feel this is a burden. And it was the thing, guys. And here I'm being a proud dad, and sorry, guys, it's obnoxious. But he was the rare kid that was like the best player on his team, but he also got the sportsmanship award because he was just a good citizen, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not because I'm the best dad in the world. It's just he loved playing. He loved being a good teammate. And it was because that's what kids are underneath. Like I might have said the phrase to you before, like education is meant to be the lighting of a fire, not the filling of a bucket, right? And that's a Yeats quote. Don't mean to be too highbrow, Steve, but
I read a lot of Yeats. So.
But that's what I think it's supposed to be. And so we can get into a few more details, but I was always very aware. If my kid was like, I want a new glove, I'm like, cool. Why do you want a new glove? Because I want to be able to catch in this thing. And I'm like, okay, let's get you a new glove. You need a new bat? Okay. But I wasn't like forcing these things upon him. And it was like, hey, I heard Joey, guy who used to play minor league baseball, and his brother's in the majors right now, Joey Gomes and Johnny Gomes, like they're big celebrities in our area. Johnny played in the majors for years. Joey, his brother, 2 of his kids that he trained are in the top 3 picks in the last few years. One of them's playing for the Brewers. I forget what the other one's playing now. But anyway, like, I'm like, hey, do you want a hitting coach? Like, he can teach you how to hit the ball better. And he goes, yeah, I'd love to. But it was not me pushing him into it. It was me seeing he wanted to be better and he wanted to do it. Oh, you want a pitching coach? There's this guy who used to play for the Yankees. He teaches pitching over here. That would be great. Right. But it was always me letting him feel like it was because of he wanted to do it.
So it's so funny that you say that, Todd, because we just recently, obviously my son graduated 2 weeks ago. Well, almost 2 weeks ago.
Obviously. Steve wasn't there.
Yeah.
It was on a Thursday. I don't agree with that.
Steve missed the graduation party, but anyway, but we were going through the scholarship applications, right? So my son, if you would ask me 3 years ago, if he were to play a sport in college, what it would have been, I would have said baseball. He was a standout center fielder, great pitcher, just a great all-around baseball player, great batting average, just really good. And stuff happened, right? Like high school happened, he got cut his sophomore year. It was purely devastating. It ended up, he still played travel ball. He had a really rough Little Leagues go round because one of the coaches played daddy ball so much so that, Owen always got the shaft. So scholarship season comes around and he wanted to apply for the Orange Little League scholarship. So I was like, go for it, buddy. Like, this is great. Like, I'm really glad you're going to apply for it. So I didn't read his letter. I had no idea what he wrote about. I really didn't. And I got a text from my friend who sits on the board, and that is not why he got the scholarship. I just want to make sure everyone knows that. And she said, can I have Owen's cell phone number? And I said, sure. I had no idea why. I wasn't even thinking about the application. So he sent me a text and he's like, hey, Mom, I got the Orange Little League scholarship. Can I have to go and get a picture taken and whatever? I'm like, congratulations, buddy. So I get home and he goes, Mom, do you want to read my letter? I was like, sure, I'd love to read it. And what he wrote about was the adversarial behavior from the coach and how he learned from an age of between 10 and 12 years old, because that's when he was on the district team. And he was not the number one player in this man's eyes. And he just showed up in practice. He was he got the sportsmanship award. He did all of the things that he needed to do. And he turned a really crappy situation into something that he really learned from. And he took away with him to write his senior year of high school. And it's funny because I saw a lot of the board members afterwards. They're like, did you read Owen's letter? Did you read Owen's letter? Did you read Owen's letter? And I was like, actually, I didn't until after he had gotten a scholarship, because you don't realize how your kids are impacted if they're not like your son, right? Like the star player that is seen by the coaches, whereas my kid was a really good baseball player who was pushed to the side by the coaches. And it ended up turning around. And actually, I just got a message from his football coach, his high school football coach, that he had won like a all-star award in his travel league a couple of years ago. He was like all player of the game or whatever. And I made a post and I said, like, if you had asked me 3 years ago what he would be playing, I would have said baseball.
Baseball, yeah.
But now he's playing D3 football, and everything happens for a reason. And those lessons, even though in Little League, are huge as long as the kids, you, i.e. me and you, aren't pushing it on the kids, and they're actually able to take in the lessons and to see, like, okay, your kid wants a new glove. Do they really want the glove? Or is it that they feel like they have to have the glove because they're cool? Or is it that they want to prove it to you? Or do they really want the glove?
Yeah.
And those things to me are what it's about. And I think a lot of parents and a lot of coaches, per this video that I shared with Steve, are missing the point, and they're missing the complete lessons that should be learned from this age. We're not talking about the Red Sox or the Brewers. We're talking about 8 and 9-year-old baseball.
Yeah. No, I was sitting at my favorite pub, Russian River Brewing, years ago. I don't know, 8-10 years ago. And my kid was playing, and I sat down at the bar talking to friends, and there's baseball player and coaches and stuff that hang out there sometimes at the end of the bar that I know. I just saw one of them the other day. We have a team in town that Joey actually Gomes, the guy who was my kid's batting coach. He coaches the Healdsburg Prune Packers, which is like a Pacific League team. And this young man sits down next to me, 21, 22, barely old enough to have a beer. And baseball's on, and we're talking a little bit. And he said, "Did you ever play?" I'm like, "Yeah, I wasn't very good, but my kid plays. He's really good." And he just looks at me and he just goes, "Does he like playing?" I'm like, "Yeah, he loves playing. He's passionate about it." And he goes, "Don't push him. Don't make it about you." I'm like, I'm a therapist too, but I'm like, what's going on? He's like, "My dad, it just became about him, and he just pushed me and pushed me and pushed me, and I just stopped liking playing, and I was supposed to be such a great player and all this stuff, and I couldn't stand it anymore, and I quit. And part of me misses it and wishes I didn't, but and it was just this like maybe 22-year-old kid. I was, in my 40s, and he just told me like it was the most, he was like encouraging me not to go that route. And honestly, guys, it's not like I thought I want my kid to be a major league star.
No.
That's a tough road. It is a tough road to go the road of professional athletes, and you could be amazing and never make it, And I, as a dad, I'm kind of like, I'm not looking for glory for me. I want you to have a stable thing, something. But yeah, it can't be about us. And I guess one more element we might get to is just the overscheduling aspect of it, and the kids like constantly, and travel ball has become a thing where it's just like, I mean, it started with soccer, right? And my nephews both played in Sacramento for, one of them played for the semi-pro youth of the MLS team up there. And all they're doing is every weekend they're going, and they loved it. But then I have a lot of clients that their kids are in volleyball. A lot of their daughters are in travel volleyball. And
that was not a thing when I played volleyball, Todd. Was not a thing. Oh
man, I was in Reno with my kid for a baseball tournament that was to qualify for a big nationwide tournament. And we went to the convention center, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was like 100 volleyball nets set up in one place and all these things going on, right? And the money involved. And I love sports. I truly do. I think it's so important for kids too, that it's one of these ways where kids can learn how to overcome adversity, and they can learn communication and teamwork and all these amazing things if we do it right, and we don't make it about us and our upset and the fact I never made it or whatever, and our own adult issues, which, oh my goodness, in my little hippie town, which I love, there was so much politics on the board and people being mean to kids and all this stuff. And I'm just like, what is going on, people?
The district draft in our town, Todd, used to take 7 hours.
Oh my goodness, did we take it seriously?
Oh yeah.
And there's all this politics. Like if you had a guy on your, like my kid, I didn't want to be a head coach, but because I didn't have time, but I always loved being an assistant coach and a base coach. And boy, did all the coaches call me for months like, "Hey, you want to be my assistant coach?" It's not because you think I'm the best coach. You want my kid, because if I'm on your team, if I'm your coach, my kid's automatically on your team. And there's all that stuff, But my point was, and I'm going off on tangents, guys, again, but is that kids need downtime too. They need time to process and have downtime and get bored. And we can't have them in violin and then mandolin and then volleyball and then homework and then bed. Like they're exhausted. And it's hard for them to be resilient if they are not ever getting any downtime,
So Todd, let me ask you this. And obviously I did not send you the video, which I will, but
is it going to make me angry, Erica?
It will, but let me ask you this, and I know probably the answer, but again, I don't have a degree, multiple degrees like you do.
Doesn't matter.
And I swear I live Todd Sarner in my head 24/7 in our last
I'm so
podcast.
sorry.
No,
I do too.
I hear that
last
from
week-
clients, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't mean
No,
to
literally
be in your
last
head.
week, Cully and I was like, Todd's gonna be mad at me because you got to watch it. It was great.
Well,
Because I'm always mad at you.
I
literally said, I'm like, this is not a Todd Sarner proud moment. But let me ask you this.
I got a text from Steve too about something. Yeah. Okay, go on.
probably.
Not about
that.
you. Not about you.
Oh, all right. Because I was gonna say
She
that
knows
might be-
about that too.
Go
She knows
on.
about that too.
So let me ask you this though. As a parent, you being one as well, that had a child who played baseball, played travel baseball, was involved in baseball, watched your kid. I am a big believer, and this is an Erica Higgins belief, that role models matter on anything that you're involved in, whether it's band, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, sports. If you have a coach, regardless of if they're a good coach or a bad coach, and I'm not defining what a good or a bad coach is, if you are seeing behavior where someone is attacking an umpire during a game, or someone is screaming at the referee on the football field and berating them in the middle of a game, or a swimming referee is being berated on the sidelines of a pool, you are seeing that children are observing those behaviors. What is your take on that as a therapist, and how that can...
It's awful, and they should be removed from the game immediately. Stop. Like, it's, we all have a responsibility, I think, again, going bigger picture. Like, if I'm walking around pissed off about stuff because I'm mad about something going on in politics, I'm mad about my team sucking this year, which I'm not saying, but hypothetically, yeah, my team sucks this year.
Are you the Dodgers?
Oh God. Okay. We were friends until
I don't
now,
know.
Erica.
You're
We were friends,
and
about
San
the worst
Francisco
thing you could
Giants.
accuse me of
I
in this
don't
life
know.
is being a Dodger
Are you a
fan.
Pirates
So
fan?
Giants. He's a
Oh,
Giants
Giants.
fan.
Okay. All right. Giants.
I'm
San
just
Francisco
kidding. I'm just
Giants.
kidding.
Got it. Okay.
My
The guy
wife-
that wears a
my
helmet
my
pays
wife
attention.
gets so mad at me because like we're at a ball game and the Dodgers, we're not even playing the Dodgers, and they have this song that dun 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 dun
Yes,
dun 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 dun, and everyone in the Giants stadium, well, me, we all go, Dodgers suck. And
All
and
right,
even if
Giants fan will
we're
never
not
forget it.
even if we're not playing the Dodgers, I do that. Like we're playing the Rockies, and then I'm like, Dodgers suck, and I'm
Got
not the
it.
only one. But
Got
my
it.
wife is like,
I'll never forget
I
it
can't
now.
take
Todd.
you anywhere.
Never.
I can't take you anywhere. I'm playing. Oh, what was the point?
The point of like coaches and role models.
Yeah, like, oh God, it's so inspiring. Like when my kid became a teenager, I preach that we are the most important people to our kids. As moms, as dads, we are the most important. We're not supposed to farm out our job in general. We're not supposed to turn them over to peers. We're not supposed to, Robin Williams in Dead Poet Society was amazing, but he wasn't supposed to be the hero to the kids. Their parents were supposed to be. But since their parents weren't there, he stepped into the role. We are the most important people to our kids. We matter the most. But when my kid became a teenager, especially, I'm like, I'm not great at baseball. I don't know how to hit very well. I was the walk champion. Because I was lefty and people couldn't pitch to me very well sometimes. And I was just, I'll take a base. I don't know how to, I pitched a little bit, but I don't know how to take pictures very well, like except for with my phone. So I consciously found role models for him. And Joey, for instance, I shouldn't be naming, like, hey,
We
Joey.
don't know his last name. It's fine. Joey is.
I did say his last name. He was great, and he cursed like a sailor sometimes. And he was not like the Waldorf-y nice dad kind of vibe that I was trying to, but I felt he needed that. I felt he needed that kind of role model. He had lived it. He had done it. He was good at it. He didn't make the majors, but he was a good hitter. and his brother was on a bunch of teams and won World Series and stuff. And I consciously looked for role models for my kid, not to replace me, but to show him things that I couldn't show him, things that I wasn't excellent at. Now I'm still there and talking through games with him at the end of the day. I just saw a clip on Facebook, how they show you memories, where my kid's at the plate in a big game, and he turns to me knowing I'm behind there filming, and he goes, "Dad, watch this." And he turns around and hits a home run.
Oh, I love that.
He called his shot, right? And he just looks back at me and he goes, "That's called calling your shot." And
I love that.
And he wasn't that arrogant of a player, but
no, but that's cute.
We had a good relationship about it, but I consciously wanted him to have role models. I didn't want to be so selfish that it had to be me or something about everything,
So what would you do if your kid's coach was attacking an umpire?
Now we're talking about a cultural problem, and we're talking about a organizational problem. It should absolutely be the rules in the league that we do not talk that way, and if we do, we might get a warning depending on how bad it is. He
got ejected,
and after that, you can't come back to the game.
He got ejected. He did get ejected.
And Positive Coaching Alliance does good work where they'll come in and they'll do I know we all did like a day-long or a 2-day thing with Positive Coaching Alliance. Not everybody. Some people stamped the card that they were there, and some people actually took it to heart. But it absolutely has to be an organizational, cultural thing where we bring it to the whole thing and talk it through. And they need to understand that if that keeps happening, kids are going to quit and they're going to go elsewhere, and parents are going to pull their kids.
A lot
in Marin County,
him.
I forget who did it. I think it might have been, Madeline Levine might have been involved, who's a parenting author. She wrote the book, The Price of Privilege. I might be wrong with that, but they started like a lacrosse league. I think like on purpose, the parents got together. And, lacrosse is often in high schools, but they formed a lacrosse league just with the intention, let's do something. And there's some Native American background in lacrosse too. And we live in an area where there's a lot of Native American, tribes who had lived there. But they started this league on purpose so that from the ground up, they could start something where it wasn't just about the sports. It was about doing it right and having the right vibe and the right atmosphere. So I would say I partially joined the board in our town because the coach I was coaching with, his kid was a great kid, but he had some behavior issues on the field sometimes, and they needed to be addressed. But the adults were absolutely going after him and threatening to forfeit the whole game because this kid was, maybe out of control sometimes. He's a little ADD, and would get mad on the field. And I just thought it was wrong. Like a board member refused to serve him at the snack shack because he was, didn't like this kid. And we have to restore dignity. We have to go, hey, we're the adults.
Are defending him. And they're saying this shouldn't define his character and this shouldn't define him.
I've seen that happen too, Erica, but I don't have a better answer than we just have to like bring it up and find other people who feel the same way.
And I agree with you. I think that, and this was my response to them, was you own this club, you swallow your pride, and you can pull the ump aside after the game and have a civil, mature conversation. But to swear profanities in front of kids, get in the umpire's face, pointing at him, literally, and this guy is a bigger guy. The umpire wasn't a bigger guy. I just find that it was completely inappropriate, regardless whether you're a good guy, you're a good coach, you're whatever. You are still a role model and you still own a business and you're still in charge of thousands of kids, hundreds of kids. I don't know about thousands, but hundreds of kids. I just have a really hard time with that. And I am one to stand my ground. I won't waver on that. I would have ripped my kid off. People need to,
because too often people just go along with it because everybody else is going along with it, I didn't finish the point earlier. I drifted off, but I just feel a responsibility that if I'm upset in life and I'm walking around pissed off, I have a responsibility not to take it out on my wife. I have a responsibility not to take, even with just sarcasm or, I'm not saying yelling and screaming. I don't do that, but like being a little salty or whatever. I have a responsibility as a good citizen and as a person and as a human and as her husband or your friend or whatever. I have a responsibility not to take that out on you or to engage in road rage on the freeway because I'm having a bad day because somebody was mean to me or something,
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so if I'm just going around spilling my anger all over the place at umpires who are just sitting there doing something that sometimes we had I've seen games that had to be forfeited because we couldn't get umpires or we couldn't
Mhm.
get a referee,
Mhm.
and then who wins in that situation?
Because
These
they
guys are
don't want to
making
be part of it because of these
these guys are
parents.
getting $20 or something, or they're
Yeah.
getting nothing. They're just doing it out of like community.
Mhm.
Then you're just being a bad citizen. And unfortunately, your question goes to something much bigger than just what do we do in sports. But I would definitely, like everything else, get together with other parents who feel the same way and go and say, look, we don't need to make this guy an awful guy and we don't need to ban him for life or whatever, but this isn't okay. And this is not demonstrating to our kids sportsmanship. How are we giving away sportsmanship awards and then we're actually allowing this? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
And
I'm
I
with
don't
public shaming.
want to go to the level of like, okay, somebody's got that on their phone, put it on the internet,
I mean, it's
like,
all over the internet right now, Todd. Like and people are like, well, it was out of context and it was a
how is that out of
walk-off and it was,
context? You're
like
being an ass. That's
yeah.
not out of context. You're being an ass.
Yeah.
It's too bad. I think, unfortunately, sometimes I don't know what to do when I see crappy things happening. And my own answer to that has been, if I can help parents in their journey to be what their kids need them to be and to help them with these things and understand what kids need, that they do need to get their frustration out and that we can't be taking it out on them and that they need downtime and that they need good connection and they need firm but loving limits. Like, that's my little way that maybe I'm making an impact and doing something to do that, right? Because otherwise it just bugs the hell out of me when I see certain politicians and the way they talk.
Oh,
It's like not even about politics. It's like, you're
who
not
they are
being a
as a
good
human.
human being.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
not being a good human being. And that should matter, not just because you're in my tribe, that I allow you bad behavior. No, let's be decent human beings if we want to raise decent human beings. So it gets me irritated. I wish I had a perfect answer, but as a parent, I just have a choice whether to put my kid on that team. I have a choice whether to have them involved in something else. I'm the most powerful one when it comes to my kid, and that's all I can do,
I
because
just
that's
feel like it's
where
an epidemic right now. Do you agree?
absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely. And again, it comes from the top. You don't have to be on this political party or that political party or a fan of this team or that team. Like, there's been some controversy with the Giants in the last few weeks. To just say, like, we should care if people are decent human beings first. We should, not perfect human beings, but we should care that they're decent human beings and they
I just
treat
feel like
people
that
well.
doesn't matter anymore in the current climate that we're at. I mean, I find that it matters. You find that it matters. Cully's finds that it matters. But a lot of people in this day and age, we're under this, you can get away with murder and be
Right.
okay.
That we call people geniuses because they get away with murder.
Right.
And it's like,
right.
No, that's lack of ethics. A psychopath, gets a lot of things done.
Stealing people's money. Like,
Yeah.
We could go down a million rabbit holes right now in regards to where we're at as a society. But,
But it comes down to me is I can have an impact on my kid.
Yeah.
I can have an impact in my community. I can have an impact by the choices I make. and I can try as hard as I can as an imperfect human being to try to be a good example. And then find other people like you, right? We met randomly through this dude, and how did this happen? Like, okay, we're talking once a month, and I love talking to you guys.
I look forward to it.
But we're creating something here in this dialogue, and maybe, a lot of people are listening to this. I've noticed 30,000 people or whatever listened to our first conversation, something like that.
Yeah.
So people are listening, and then people could go, oh, I feel the same way too. I just thought it's how it had to be. Okay, I'm going to create a lacrosse team in our area, or I'm going to create a different thing for the kids.
Well, it's not only creating something new, it's being impactful for what is already existing.
Yeah.
And I think that's something people are afraid to do right now, is because they think that if they speak up or if they see something that's against the new status quo, that it's not going to be accepted or okay.
There's a lot of that going on. And there's a group think, and like it comes up with technology, right? And I think we touched on it. I'm not anti-technology. I grew up in Silicon Valley. I love technology. I have 2 iPads, a Mac Mini, a MacBook Pro, and an iPhone right here.
Yeah, I've got 3 around me too. In my iPhone.
I like technology, but so many parents come to me every day and say, how do we get our kids off technology? I'm like, well, take them off technology. And they go, but everyone else is. And that's all I'm hearing. And then what you hear is, when a school makes a rule that we're not doing phones at school anymore, you have to put them in a yonder pouch or you can't bring them. Guess what? The kids don't complain.
It was the best thing ever.
All the kids go, oh, thank God. I don't have to do it because everyone else isn't doing it now.
Yeah. Yep.
They don't go, give me back my phone. They don't care because their friends don't have them. Mm-hmm. So there's something about this group mentality thing. But people come to me all the time and they say, I wish, but everyone else. And then their friends come to me next and they say the same thing. And then this other family in that school comes to me and says the same thing. Like, do you guys know you're all saying the same thing? We have to have the conviction of our principles. We have to know the alpha position is, I am here to take care of you. And the choices I make are based on what is best for you in this moment, not what you want and not what everybody else is doing. Right.
And Todd, what would you tell parents? How could they partner better with coaches to help them with their experience and their development and from these issues from happening? Are there conversations that can be had?
Yeah, I think there's board meetings. Like baseball little leagues have board meetings. You can pass out flyers about the Positive Coaching Alliance and contact the Positive Coaching Alliance. They do good work, and just say, hey, what would it take to get a program going here? And then lobby other parents to get involved in it. It's just so many things are the way you bring it up, right? You show up at the meeting and you start yelling at them about it. Here's a universal rule. Yell at your kid, they're going to defend themselves. Yell at your partner, they're going to defend themselves. Mm-hmm. Yell at a board person, they're going to defend themselves. It's not going to get anywhere. It's not. And all the righteous indignation in the world, when you accuse people or whatever, all they're thinking is, I don't like it either, but I'm dealing with these politics and I'm dealing with this person and we don't have enough people to coach. And and so it doesn't get anywhere. But if you show up at a board meeting with 10 parents and you go, hey, we appreciate the job you guys are doing, and it's so valuable for us to have Little League, but we really feel it's important that we demonstrate good values to the kids and good sportsmanship that we're trying to teach them to have. And that comes from the top. So it only makes sense to us that we would have coaches that are acting with good sportsmanship. I had a coach after a game once, a hard-fought game, refused to shake my hand. Because I was just like, what in the hell? Like, we won, but why?
He's got his own childhood demons he's trying to work through, Todd.
Exactly. And
They
so
take it
that's
too
why
seriously.
sometimes I shake my head, Erica, and I just go, I don't know how to solve this whole thing. But I do actually believe that if people get together and they have the intention and they try to make it happen, I'm not saying go form the lacrosse league first. I'm saying try to improve that little league first and try to come up with some agreed upon rules and get other people on board with it. And then if you can't, take your kid out of it or go somewhere else,
Yeah,
or
and this is
create
a
something
private
new.
club. So this isn't even Little League. This is the
Yeah.
guy who owns this private club,
Right.
who these are his rules. This is his gig.
That's the problem.
Mhm.
I don't know that you're going to change that,
Right. And you probably won't.
and sorry if I missed that fact, but
No, that's okay. There's
but
so
if
many
everybody
baseball
quits
clubs now.
because he's being, in high
Yeah.
school once, it's probably not relevant, but in high school once we had this bully of a teacher that was just so mean to people. And one day he just took this girl out back, like we can see them. It was like, he's like berating this girl, and maybe we shouldn't have left her, but we all just got up and went up to the dean's office. All of us, we just all got up and
Strength
went
in
to the
numbers.
dean's office, and the dean, who we went to the same church. I didn't know him that well, but we went to the same church. So he came up to me and goes, "What's going on?" I'm like, the teacher's yelling at one of our classmates and she didn't do anything. And we just didn't want, and he absolutely took care of it. He absolutely did not suspend us or penalize us in any way. And they absolutely talked to the teacher, but it was only because a peaceful protest. We all just got up and we, left, and I, unfortunately, with a private club, that's the most powerful thing you have if he doesn't want to change his way.
Todd, the last thing I wanted to ask you, because some parents have concerns with the summer coming out, kids being out of school. What are some ways that parents can keep their kids still engaged, doing activities, and not regressing from everything that they've done during the school year? They have all this time off. They're worried about, them not staying busy. And I know they can work and do other things, but any suggestions you would have for parents with concerns?
Maybe it's not a perfect answer because, different people have different resources and different options and things. But the main thing, my phone rings off the hook when kids go back to school in September, like more than any time in the year. And after winter vacation also. And it's because parents have been dealing with so much, but they haven't had time and they couldn't come talk to me because they had their kids. But one of the main things just to understand is why do teachers for the most part not go insane? Like when we have one or two or three kids and we're going crazy sometimes. Partly they're big alpha presences. If they're good at their job, they're kind, but they're large and in charge. That's it. I'm in charge, and we have structure and we have ritual and we know what we do. Kids don't argue about like when we do history because we do history every day at 2. That's what we do. Right? Like kids don't argue with that. Kids
they might not
argue
like
with
it. They're tired of it.
No, they might not. Yeah, sure. I don't want to do math. Right. And that's
writing. Writing's the big one for my
personal.
boys. I don't want to write.
Me, I couldn't ever stand math. And I partly joked that I went into psychology because you don't have to take math. You have to take statistics and you can have a calculator.
I didn't like that either.
Yeah. But part of what keeps a teacher sane is that they're alpha and they have structure and ritual and rhythm and predictability. But then kids sometimes these days, after school today, we're going to the store and then we're going to the park and then we're going to dinner and then you have to go to do homework. And tomorrow we go home, but then we go out to do this and then we do this and then we don't have dinner until 8. And that randomness causes problems. We don't need to be like German train conductors, like with everything's on time, Mussolini, the trains are on time. Like it doesn't need to be like tight. Okay. But the more we can have structure and ritual and rhythm during the school year, they have more of that.
Mhm.
And then they fall apart after school sometimes because there isn't
Yes.
as much, right? And that's what happens with summer. All of a sudden, all that structure and ritual is gone, right? So anything you can do, it doesn't have to be every minute of the day. It just has to be create some expectations of in the morning we do this, and then in the afternoon we do this, and in the evening we do this, and really just make structure where there isn't structure, any predictability, including during transitions. And then if there are good camps, or there's parents that you can cooperatively work with, and like, hey, every Tuesday can my kid go over to your place with this other kid, and the three of them can play, and every Wednesday, that was such a godsend, for me when my kid wasn't in school. Just knowing we had these 5 or 6 families that I could always send my kid to your place, or you can send them to my place. And it wasn't even a big deal that they're at my place because they're playing.
Yeah.
They're not
My
getting in the
brother's
way of me
boys came
working.
over today. We had that.
Yeah. But having some predictability about it, not
They
just
loved it.
randomly.
It was great. They played.
That's what we do. So like if you can find a good camp, great, that helps. But just know that the lack of structure, and like I tell people, even though it's an extreme story, like when I worked in the group homes, the main times the kids blew out, we called them blowouts, was when they had downtime and they didn't know what was coming next. It's because that's when they got the most anxious, right? And these kids had a pretty good existence. We brought them to the pool. We brought them to the movies. They had horses, a horse equine program. They had a safe environment. But when we had 2 hours where nothing was going on and that's when a kid would blow out, right? And it's an extreme example to make the point, but kids need structure and rhythm and predictability. And so when it's summer, we just kind of try to come up with as many ways as we can to create that. That's all.
And I mean, here's the other thing too. Like I work from home. My husband works from home. If I had him here every day, I would have, first of all, mom guilt that he'd be sitting there on screens because I have to work. I have to work a 40+ hour work week.
For sure. Yeah.
So does my husband. So this week, because we're leaving on vacation, he has 3 days where he doesn't have anything, because I wasn't going to spend a full week of camp when he's not going to be at a full week of camp.
Right.
So, yesterday my husband was great, I had meetings all day. Today, my nephews came over, played. My husband also had some gaps in meetings. I didn't. He was able to play games with them for a little while, and then they played themselves. But at the same time, if he does not have structure, and this is my ADHD kid, he needs to have structure, and he also needs variance. So he cannot have the same camp every single week.
Is this Reed?
What? Reed.
Is this Reed? Yeah, he's loud.
Yeah. So
he's the one that asks a lot of questions.
He goes to a nature camp where they build, tree houses, and they're in streams, and he's catching frogs, and
that's awesome. I love those camp. My kids
he's doing an art camp where they're doing paper mache animals. He goes to sleepaway camp for 2 weeks. He's going to a sports camp for a week. He's doing a basketball camp for a week. So I try to make it so that he is doing different things, but there is structure with every single thing he's doing.
That's the main thing. It's the lack of structure just brings up so much anxiety, and then kids act out, and then we go, they're acting out. Well, yeah, it's anxiety. Yeah. Almost everything is anxiety, guys. Almost everything about people's personality is anxiety in one way or another. Some people act very, very serious because their anxiety makes them act serious to try to deal with it. And some people act outwardly anxious, but it really is usually not the kids, like I've said before, are on purpose. I'm bored, so I'm going to lose my mind. No, they're feeling anxiety because they don't know what's coming next. We all want to know what's coming next. And so just bringing in some structure and ritual, given whatever your resources are. But I always want to just say community too, right?
Yes.
That the way that a lot of cultures deal with parents both working is mom moves into the house, or dad. It's a village thing. And again, I've probably said it before. It drives me crazy when people go, it's not a village, it's a parent. Those are not opposing things, right? Like I said, Hillary Clinton came out with a book. It takes a real village to raise a child. And because people hate her, whatever you think of her, no, it doesn't, you communist. That's not the point.
Right. That's not what she's
the
saying.
point was that we are the most important, but oh my goodness, we're supposed to have a village. And a lot of the problems that we have as parents these days is we don't have the village.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
that we don't have the grandma lives here too, or we have a very close knit thing that, you know, it used to be if I, and I did this once or twice, I admit, if I saw a kid going to take candy in the hardware store or something when nobody was looking, he was going to shoplift. Everybody tries that once. I know you never did, Erica, but
Steve, I have a story.
Okay. But it used to be that I'm not your dad if I see that, but I'm going to be your dad in this moment and go, hey, Steve, come on, your dad, right? But I'm not being an ass, and I'm not being your dad. I'm not claiming to be your dad. I'm a representative of your dad in this moment. Nowadays, it's like, stay out of it. I don't want to piss anyone off. They're going to yell at me if I say anything to their kid, you know? And it's like, no. We're supposed to be able to help each other out, you know? And like I said, the closest 5 kids, boys in my kids' class that really liked each other, that was like the biggest gift in the world. Just knowing I could send my kid to your chicken farm and you can send them over to my place or whatever. And the kids are going to play and get along. And they're not going to say, where's our video games? Because they don't care, because they're playing. Just like the kids, when you take away their phones, they're like, oh, thank goodness. It's a lot of stress, you know?
Yeah,
I used to go to the dump with my dad on Saturdays. And
I remember
then we would go to Kenny's.
Wow.
It was like this like crazy convenience store that was filthy dirty, had stuff everywhere. And we would go there. My dad would buy his pack of Newport cigarettes. He would buy whatever else nonsense he needed. And I wanted a pack of gum. And I vividly remember this. And my dad said no. And I was like, okay. So I turned around, grabbed the pack of gum when he wasn't looking. We went out into his truck and I started chewing a piece of gum.
Oh, not smart.
Not smart.
Momma Higgins.
Where did you get the gum? I said, I don't know. I don't know where I got the gum.
I don't know. Good answer.
So he goes, show me your hands. So I pull out the pack of gum and he goes, let's go. He made me walk back into Kenny's convenience store. I had to go commit my sin to Kenny, who owned the convenience store.
Kenny, the actual Kenny.
The actual Kenny was there. And I had to tell him what I did. And I still, to this day, it was the one and only time ever in my 45 and a half years of life that I have ever taken a thing. And I vividly, because I was traumatized that my dad made me go in and tell this adult that I took this gum. And I told my boys that all the time. They're like, you remember? I said, I remember what I was wearing. I was wearing overalls. Like I could tell you everything about the day because I was so devastated about it. But I swear my dad knew exactly it was going to be the one time that I was going to do it. And I was never going to do it again.
Yeah, it made an impact. Todd, thank you so much again for being on the show.
Happy to be here.
What was the school? The Waldorf? What was it?
Waldorf education. Yeah, they have schools everywhere.
How would I have done there?
Mm-hmm. Excellent. They don't have football usually, though.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to give my kid a choice when he was going into high school. Like, it's your choice. Do you want to go to Cardinal Newman, the Catholic school that has Joe Montana's kids went there? You know,
right? Yes, right. Yes.
You know, like it's this excellent sports school. Or do you want to stay at your school, which has a circus program? I'm not kidding. Which is awesome. Like they had a big, like a trapeze, a full trapeze set in the field, right? But they also had basketball, and he became very good at basketball too, because that was the only, they had track and they had basketball. But he played with other teams, you know, not at school. But thanks for having the conversation. Didn't know it was going to be about sports, but
I didn't mean it
appreciate
to be
but I appreciate it because people don't ask me about that much.
It was hot off the press, Todd.
Kim John Payne, who's a well-known parenting author who I've mentioned.
He's your mentor, right?
No, Gordon
Oh.
Neufeld was more my
That
mentor. Kim is somebody who I met more as a colleague, that he would speak at my son's school, and he's had a bunch of best-selling books, Simplicity Parenting, Soul of Discipline, one of just the kindest, most generous human beings you'll ever meet. He wrote a book, or co-wrote a book, called Whole Child Sports. And so some of the people out there that, are interested in Waldorf, because he's kind of a Waldorf-y guy. His wife is from a Waldorf family and teaches and is an administrator. Wonderful human being as well. He co-wrote a book called Whole Child Sports with a guy who's, and he used to be, I want to say he used to be a diver, like a competitive diver, Kim.
Oh,
But
wow.
he's Australian, so they do lots of water stuff,
Well,
they
we
don't
always,
do good in the Winter Olympics, but boy, are they good in the pool.
we always appreciate your time and transformative parenting, the calm and connected parent.
Calm
that's
and
the book.
connected parent. Yep.
That's the book, right? That's a
And
good book.
the Calm and Connected Parent is the book. It's on Amazon. We also have a link that I think I provided for you, that people,
Yes.
I provided the thing I talked about last time, where people can actually do this companion course over a month
Right.
with the book, that I just found like it helps people out. But yeah, we'll talk again soon, I'm sure. And please send in questions with these guys.
Yes,
And
please.
any interested in anything that you guys come up with too.
So I have a request that I think
Okay.
our next call, our next
Is it a
podcast
song?
that we do
Should
together,
I get the guitar and I'll play a
it
song?
should be a Q&A. I think that everybody needs to send in questions. I think, Steve, you got a bunch.
I have
last time.
45,000 of them. So
All right.
yeah,
So
there's
I
plenty
do
of them.
think that we need to do that as our next podcast. Is
That would be
what-
great.
Erica,
I'll just
will
tell everybody that, if you ask me a therapy question,
He's
I
limited
probably
with
won't,
what he can say.
I probably
Yes.
won't
We can
answer
do
a
a
therapy.
disclaimer ahead of time. I think that would be fun.
And-
Right.
and
There's just
Erica-
ethical rules and seriousness about things, where people will, even on a live stream, they'll say, let me tell you about this horrible thing that just happened and this thing that in the courts. And I can't answer those
No.
questions. But if it just comes to these parenting topics, love to talk about it and would be happy to do that.
Erica, I will email you the questions.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
And you can organize them.
That's fine.
I
would.
would
You know me.
love
I
to
love
see that.
organization, Steve Cully.
If you can organize the questions,
I may even create a spreadsheet.
when you see the volume of questions, if you can organize them, A plus.
I will take care of that post my trip.
All right.
Excellent.
Well,
I'm going to go have some
yes.
leftover Japanese curry now.
Oh, that sounds divine.
That I made last night. I haven't made Japanese. I love Japanese food. I lived there for a while. I love Japanese stuff. Made a good curry. So yeah, I'm gonna
Sounds
go
good.
do
Never
that
had Japanese
because
curry. I've
enjoy
had
that.
Indian curry.
yeah, the Japanese are masters of borrowing from other cultures and making it their own.
Oh,
So I just found that there's so many people, like some of the best pizza you'll ever eat in your life is
Is
in
in New
Japan.
Haven, Connecticut.
I've also heard that, and I know the controversy, and my dad's from Long Island, so I'm gonna stay out of that
Yeah.
it's New
debate.
Haven.
The New
did he
York
say?
versus New Haven thing. But man, Japanese guys and women will go places in the world and learn from the masters in Italy, and then they'll come back to Japan and they'll
The Japanese can make pizza.
Interesting.
some of the best
Yeah.
pizza I've had in my life. Like go look it up. Like some of the best
yeah,
rated
yeah,
pizza
yeah.
places in the world are in Tokyo.
I'm gonna.
I'll
do
ask
that.
my sister-in-law. She lived there, so you guys can compare.
Yeah.
them.
My sister lives in Shizuoka, Japan, and they just don't have pizza in her little neck of the woods. So, but when
Well-
she'd come to Osaka, I'm like, let's get Japanese food. She's like, I want pizza and a burger. I'm like, ah. Anyway, I better go. I'm probably
Todd,
gonna
have a great dinner, Erica.
Thank you, and I'll
have
talk
a
to you
great
guys again
vacation.
soon.
Yes, we will be in touch soon, and Erica will have questions. Steve Cully, best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them back at life.